Colonel Roy Campbell here. Do not turn the game console off. The mission has not failed. Because you are listening to Raw Dogs. You have a mission. Listen up. Enjoy. Roy Campbell, out.
Maybe I could draw a bunch of video game stuff and make some money.
What about the person next to our booth that was doing Lilo and Stitch variations of all pop culture?
Yeah.
Here's Stitch as Pulp Fiction. Here's $20, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I love crossover material. It's my favorite thing in the world. It doesn't annoy me at all.
I love Stitch so much, but he was never in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, it took me a long time to find you guys at this last one because the way they had the whole layout was like kind of different.
Hey, everybody, and welcome
I
to...
read the text.
Welcome to Raw Dogs. And whether or not people respond to group text messages, they still receive them sometimes. My name is Brad. I am one of your hosts. We are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. Check out all of the other amazing shows at podcast.hyperx.com.
My name is Dylan. I'm famously aloof.
You're kind of a vampire.
A little bit.
Not yet. You haven't
What
bought your
if
whip yet.
Dracula got the vampire killer?
He couldn't use it. It's too holy. Like, he wouldn't even be able to touch it, I don't think.
If he wears gloves.
I'm looking at one of your beers and I...
Yes, we'll get to it.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
I'm
we will.
gonna save that.
And who else is here?
I'm Tyler. The door was open. I just kind of stumbled in and sat down.
You've heard of Castlevania before.
What?
Yep. And then
You were fun. You sat on my lap. I stroked your hair.
what is a melee? And we have returning for this episode our favorite guest, Stoy.
Stoy, I was in your trunk on your way here, so that was that noise that you were hearing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
So
it was sorry for the bumpy ride.
it's okay. It's fine.
We are dysfunctional.
Yeah.
You should really get the hydraulics taken off your car.
You really should, actually. There is something that smells back there. I think you may be leaking fuel.
He doesn't care. Have you met him? He's
Whatever,
got money.
yeah.
He's got money up the wazoo. He can stop every 10 miles and get a new tank.
And Stoy, you're from EXPCast.
The EXPcast, a video game podcast where our shtick, because like we were like, well, EXPcast, we have to put a video game podcast afterwards because that was like an old saying. Like when we started our name, people were like, the experts were like, oh, you should put like what your podcast name means because they don't know what EXPcast means. So it's like, well, I guess I'll put a video game podcast on it.
Yeah, I understand that necessity. For our Elden Dog series, I put an Elden Ring podcast at the very end, just so people that search Elden Ring will find it for sure. Because you want that.
I'm not for sure if that actually helped or hurt us. I mean, it's been that way for like years now at this point because we've been around for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it hurts or helps us at this point. So, whatever.
Some people probably think we're like a dog grooming podcast when they check us out.
It's super possible, and that might have actually gotten us a few listeners maybe at a certain point. I had an idea for the name of if we ever do like this like Berserk podcast, like the manga one.
Yeah.
Up in them guts.
Sounds great.
That actually is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's kind of perfect. It's also
It's
like
provocative.
it's too provocative.
Yeah.
And
Attention grabbing.
this is part 3 of our Castlevania series retrospective. We are going to tear apart the rest of the series, which has some extremely high notes and the lowest of the lows of the entire franchise.
Yes.
All the beers today are provided from friend of the podcast, Ryan,
We love him.
Patreon supporter, Discord person, and just all around great fucking dude.
Truly, if you want to subscribe to our Patreon and join our Discord, like everyone is super cool.
And also, if you want to send us beers, we will be your friends for life. So all of the beers we have today are from Blue Owl Brewing. And Blue Owl Brewing is a sour brewery started in 2015 to make sour beers approachable yet unique from Austin, Texas. The first one we're going to have is called Spirit Animal. These are all sour beers, which They do have non-sour beers available. I checked their website, but these ones we're drinking today are all sours.
Oh,
This
no,
is the
there's
one
no, I can't do the second one.
The second one.
Yeah, that's
scares
what I was
me.
looking at, and I was like, "Oh no,
I can't do the second
no.
one.
I think you might actually like it.
I
Let me make sure these are all.
Brad, have you tried these yet?
No, we only got one of each.
know, but like,
I
listen,
love pickle beers.
I hate pickles.
The cat? I have a cat named
I love pickles. I think pickles is great. I love her little paws.
Pickles is a boy, dude.
Whatever. Cats are genderless.
Yeah.
Goblin still gets called a she all the time, and I'm like, listen, buddy, maybe you should man up.
With a face like that.
Maybe you don't belong in a Castlevania game. Maybe you do.
With that attitude,
So
you don't.
this is a sour pale ale. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers, boys. Ooh.
That is delicious.
Wow.
That is
Sour.
true. That is true sour. That is
Yeah,
a
that
true
is true
sour.
sour. Yeah,
That is a
like
real
it.
tang.
I love it.
That's like a warhead.
because sour beers like just do things to my face.
Yeah.
It hurts the back of my
yeah,
back
like right
by
here.
my
Yeah.
teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know it's sour.
When we left off, we had just discussed Harmony of Dissonance, so that would bring us to our next game, Castlevania: Aria of Sorrow. Much beloved. Known
I
in
always
Japan.
think of Harvester of Sorrow every time, so it's like Aria of Sorrow.
What's Harvester of Sorrow? It must be a song
Yeah,
by.
Metallica.
Ah, okay.
Metallica.
Oh,
I've
we're-
heard of them. Oh, you're talking about the Stranger Things band.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
okay.
one. Yeah,
Yep, that one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
that one.
You know that they actually played music before the show?
What?
Aria of Sorrow.
Metallica's been around for a long time, guys.
The Metallica lore is next week.
Yeah.
Aria of Sorrow, known in Japan as Castlevania Akatsuki no Minuet. Didn't mess that one up. Castlevania Minuet of Dawn. This was released May 6, 2002 for the Game Boy Advance in North America. 2 days.
Actually, you said that perfectly.
Thank you. Our local resident Japanese language expert Dylan has approved.
I only know a little.
Thank you, Dylan Kuhn.
That's enough.
Kun, come on, man. I'm at least san. Do you?
I don't know.
It's a term of respect. You're san. We're san. We're all sans.
Thank you, Dylan Kuhn.
Brad Simon.
Kun is like, you little rapscallion.
Well, you
I-
are. That actually sounds perfect. I don't know.
Well,
You are a
Oddly
rapscallion.
fitting.
fine, whatever.
How do you say Lord Dracula in a little term?
Dracula san.
Okay, Dracula Kun.
A Dracula domo, which means like a higher term, like leader.
Aria of Sorrow was developed by Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo.
Whatever, I'm a weeb. That's fine.
Produced by Koji Igarashi.
Complain later.
Composed by Michiru Yamane and a couple of other folks. This takes place in 2035 in Japan, which is it is cool that this is like a
pretty dope.
futuristic Castlevania when
They all wear clothes from the 2000s.
well, I mean,
And they don't have flying cars.
is the
And they've got fluffy
is
coats.
fashion that different from 2000 to like 2022?
Yes. I watched
Yeah.
that Mormon documentary and
Still on the Mormon stuff here.
Well, yeah, no, it is because I feel like the early 2000s still had a lot of bleed over from the 90s. I watched it was 9/11 recently, so I watched a 9/11 documentary, and everybody in those videos looks like they're from 1998.
real rough,
Yeah.
huh?
It was kind of sad.
Okay.
That's a little sad.
It was kind of sad. I just don't like it. I don't know why.
You play.
What's this 9/11?
In this game, you play as Soma Cruz, who may or may not hold the dormant soul of Dracula inside of him.
Spoiler alert.
I watched a YouTube video with someone describing how perfect and beautifully thought out this name is for like all these different reasons. And then I saw Igarashi said it's Cruz because he saw the actress Penelope Cruz's name and thought it was cool. And this guy just made like a video like, it's so perfect.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes, he's just getting off on it. And Iga's like, I saw Penelope Cruz's name.
Oh, man.
And thought that looks real
That'll
good.
take the wind out of your sails.
So this is another Igavania, Return to Form. And unlike Harmony of Dissonance or Circle of the Moon, Soma uses tons of weapons. He uses swords, uses spears. He has the whip sword. He doesn't have a whip, but he can get one sword that functions like a whip.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's very much kind of feels the closest we've had to Symphony of the Night from these games since then.
But also, you get magic from your enemies.
You get to control monsters or something.
No, you get the tactical soul system.
Yeah.
Right, that was it, yeah.
You
You
inhabit
can't
a
use
part of it.
monsters, but you can use their abilities or
Their
something.
abilities.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking awesome.
Yep.
Every single enemy in the game, 110 of them, has a soul which can be stolen upon defeat. Some
As a
drop,
drop.
some drop more often than others. Unfortunately,
Like zombies.
you'll get a lot of those.
You get a lot of those.
zombies, yeah.
Yep.
And then sometimes you just go fight like a demon pig underwater because you need to get a special soul from him that you'll never use, but you're a completionist and you hate your life.
Well, I'm glad things turned around for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the soul.
I don't think I've ever. So with these games, Brad, even going back in the series, are you a completionist with most of these, or is it when it adds like a collective element? Is that kind of something that drives you?
It depends on, I draw the line. I will do most things in Assassin's Creed games, but I will not collect every feather or sea shanty or treasure chest.
Well,
but
the sea shanties were the most important part.
Yeah, I actually did that in Black Flag all the time.
But the things that are like the
wanted more.
super
Yeah.
extra collectible stuff, I wouldn't do. I definitely got every soul in this game, though. There is a collecting nature to these EXPCasts where you do kind of want to just see everything in the castle, see every enemy. There are like enemies that are super rare, and you have like a brief chance to try and get a soul from them. I remember going out of my way to do that, unfortunately. I wrote down, you can steal a soul from Persephone, and it lets you wield a vacuum cleaner. That's one of the cooler souls in this game.
Sick.
Love vacuuming.
I don't think I got that one.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
It's the vacuuming ghost.
I feel like that weapon would really suck to use.
Ah, get it.
I think. Dang it, man, that's good.
Nice.
I was a little slow there.
Wait, what?
I was like, I'm the one laughing.
It's the delivery. Hoover, I barely know her. There's mine.
We did them all. That's all of them.
Oh shit, it's over.
There's 4 main types of souls. Bullet souls have a sub-weapon like functionality. They're up in B. Guardian souls, mainly defensive, like summoning familiars or shape-shifting. Enchanted souls acquire new latent abilities like walking on water. That one is a bitch to get.
Yep.
There wasn't a demon pig, but it was something you had to go fight for it. Ability souls provide always-on abilities like double jump and slide. No heart gauge, just a magic meter. Strangely enough, you can link your Game Boy Advances together with a friend and trade souls between them. Seems useless. Just go
You
get
could just do it.
just go get the soul yourself. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Also, you could potentially, that could help at speed running.
I mean, yeah,
There's no rules against it.
yeah.
I mean, if you have that really lazy friend that just doesn't want to grind,
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, it's just odd that was something that like we need to make sure there's some
your
GBA
friend just
link
sucks.
functionality.
I can imagine like an older brother being like, "Hey, listen, take this one and beat this boss." Like, I kind of like that functionality, no matter what. Just the fact that it's there and they thought about it is kind of cool.
Yeah, they get weirder with their functionality
Yeah.
a little bit later on. I love Ario Sorrow.
Me too.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great. They only get better, the handheld Vanias.
Yep.
They get sometimes a little more, they deviate a little bit from like,
Portrait of Ruin is okay.
it's different. They try new things and it's maybe not better or worse, just different, but beautifully animated. I like the enemies in this game a lot, and definitely a perfect send-off for the Game Boy Advance.
Story was kind of, I mean, like the characters like were kind of funny. Like, who's that? Your weapons dealer, Hammer? Or something
Hammer.
like that?
And he's descended from Grant Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite name in the series.
Grant Dynasty.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's about to drop like the hardest mumble rap album of 2035.
Just hanging
or
from a
whatever
ceiling.
year he's in.
He's like 15 years too late.
Yeah.
It'd be nasty, though. It'd be good.
Oh, it'd be so nasty.
What were you saying about Hammer?
He's kind of a creep.
Well, he's got it bad for Yoko.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
And he doesn't know how to take back off for an answer.
No, exactly. That's why I'm like kind of a creep. Like, you need to take a hint, bro.
And Grant famously had a thing for Sypha. and she went with, of course, Trevor.
Right.
So dynasties are never getting it on the way they want.
No.
Yeah.
You gotta change your approach, man.
Yeah.
Gotta play cool.
They all their kids just keep hanging out.
Put that
though.
hammer down and get an acoustic guitar or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this
Learn
is
to play
Wonderwall.
Wonderwall.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
You're so good at that. Wow. It's like a song I've actually heard.
This is attractive. Yeah.
The song's about me.
And yeah.
I'm the brown-eyed girl. It's true.
My eyes are blue.
My eyes are blue, but I feel like a brown-eyed girl.
You
so it
didn't
counts.
even notice. It's cool that you play as Dracula, a reincarnated form of Dracula. It's a little twist on that. Julius Belmont is in this game. He is the Belmont that defeated Dracula in the Demon Castle Wars, which is constantly built up to be the final, most epic Castlevania game that never got made. It's when Dracula, it's like the first time he's back at full power because of the solar eclipse in 1999. They're dropping nuclear bombs on Castlevania. Like the entire world works together to go to war on Dracula. And Julius Belmont is the one who destroys them. They seal the castle and Dracula into the eclipse. And they, of course, it lasts like 30 years and they come back, but
It's supposed to be every 100 that he revives, right?
yeah, that's what they say. When you do the timeline, though, Dracula just always fucking around.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Because I think they just create distance for themselves storyline-wise, even though the storylines matter so very little.
No, they matter less as you go on. It's still some of it's interesting, but yeah, you play as a reincarnated form of Dracula, and you can play as Julius Belmont in this game. I don't have a lot else to say. The soundtrack's great. I do love the Soul system.
Yeah.
I think it's a great addition, and it's something that they will bring back later for the next game.
Sure.
Another attempt at 3D. We have Castlevania Lament of Innocence. This is known in Japan as Castlevania. Not confusing at all.
Nope.
Yep. And
But technically, it is literally the first Castlevania in the timeline.
it is, by all accounts, the very first one. There's no debate. Leon Belmont is the first Belmont.
Yep.
You even see a picture of this guy in the animated series. There's like a painting, like that's the guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember seeing this game in Family Video on the shelf, and it was always like the artwork on the cover always had me thinking like maybe I should try that out, but it was always my second option, and then I always rented a different game. So I didn't play this until
All these
we
missed
played
opportunities.
it. Was it though?
I actually played this last night.
I think it's an underrated game.
It really is.
I think Curse of Darkness is better, but Lament of Innocence has a lot going for it.
This is the one with the soundtrack that absolutely slaps, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we were.
Especially when you go into the basement, I think in the first area where all of a sudden it turns into like a techno trance beat. Like it's like, what the hell?
It starts slow. We were watching our friend Nate be horrible at video games. He couldn't even figure out how to open doors properly.
Yeah.
Oof. And I know that they're sometimes tough, but he was on another level of struggle.
Yeah.
But once the soundtrack kicked in, though, all of us were like, "Oh, okay,
I could play this for 8 hours.
Yeah.
yeah." This game came out October 21st, 2003 for the PlayStation 2 in North America, and a month later in Japan. Developed by Konami, produced and written by Koji Igarashi, composed by Michiru Yamane, and designed by Ayame Kojima. This is the Dream Team. One of the reasons that Symphony of the Night was great was those three, and they are here for this game. I got this, I don't know if it was day one, but like right after it came out, I got this from a GameStop, and I was just holding it knowing I was going to have the best time of my life. And it wasn't. I didn't like it at the time. In retrospect, though, I do like what's going on.
No, honestly, this really paved the way for me for third-person action games on the PlayStation 2 because I don't know if you guys remember like Chaos Legion for the PlayStation 2.
No.
And I
I've
think there
never
was like
played
a
that.
couple other games that kind of followed that same model of like it's a 3D Metroid-vania style game, just like huge emphasis on like kind of hack and slash combat. And I think Lament of Innocence was like the first of its kind at the time. Like it was hugely unique. It still took that same like Symphony of the Night Metroid-vania style formula, but just in a complete 3D space. It's just, it was so hard because everything was, all your enemies were off camera. and I was feeling that struggle when I was playing this last night because I was like, God damn it. Like, you know.
A bad thing for character action.
Yeah, it really is.
It is hard when your enemies are off camera.
Yeah.
And it's not off screen because like it's just that fucking camera.
Yeah, it really
you know
is.
What we mean.
And that's where Curse of Darkness made it exponentially better, where you can actually move the camera like better.
Well, at all, because this is fixed camera.
Yeah, I know, but that's where like I said, Curse of Darkness really kind of like
where you can move the camera.
Yeah, you can actually move the camera. How neat is that?
Oh, there's a guy behind me. Maybe I should turn the camera around so I can see him.
Yeah, but I think like the way I got around it was I was literally like I think just that was Curse of Darkness because I was playing Curse of Darkness too yesterday, and it's like you're just spamming the L1 button to like recenter the camera. But
yeah, this is why it's hard to play unless you get used to it. Is that camera the way it just always has a fixed location it's going to be, and the platforming isn't great. I had a lot of issues trying to get up and down areas, but the soundtrack goes so hard, I played a lot longer than I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. The combat's fine. It's I don't think it did a lot of things super unique. I kind of just felt like, Devil May Cry, God of War. It's got, if you like those, you'll like this because it's the same thing.
Yeah, heavy God of War vibes.
Mm-hmm. God of War, Devil May Cry, like it's but correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't a fixed camera.
Yes and no. It's not like fixed camera like Resident Evil
but that's Devil May Cry. If you don't remember, and if maybe you don't think about it, Devil May Cry and God of War both had fixed cameras.
Yeah.
And they were environments you moved throughout, but the camera was always in the same exact place. But to be a character action game and not have your camera under control, that's kind of wild.
This will do. You're walking down a hallway, and then sometimes the camera wants to swoop in and get a different angle, or you like move to the right side of the room, and it'll do like a turn and zoom, but you don't control it.
That's interesting.
That's what this is. Yeah,
that'd be interesting if it worked.
But when enemies get behind the camera so easily, it's very hard.
Well, I think that's the problem with games of this era in general. They were trying to be more than just a video game. They were trying to be like they were trying to approach everything from a cinematic angle, and they didn't let the video game be the video game because they realized after a while that eventually video games were going to become stuff like The Last of Us, stuff like that, where you're just like drawn in by, oh wow, it looks real.
This did have a really good story. I mean, probably one of the saddest endings, I think, for me at least, one of the saddest endings in Castlevania.
It's very heavy metal.
Yeah.
When
it's pretty dope.
When you find out that your wife Sarah, you get her out of the castle, but you find out she's been bitten because she can't leave, and then the guy who makes your whip, he's like, Ronaldo Gandolfi. He's like,
Ronaldo, that was it. Yeah.
We can fully power up your whip now.
That dictator.
You're gonna have to kill your wife.
Yeah.
And she's like all about it, and he's just like yelling dark magic at you, and you have to whip her with your whip, and it's pretty awesome.
It's actually pretty. It's low-key sad.
Holy diver, been down too long in the midnight sea.
And this is also, the birth of Dracula. Matthias Krunkvist, your good friend, his wife dies while he's off fighting a war for God, and he's like, I'm so mad, I'm gonna become a vampire. And that's how he starts his journey to become Dracula.
That's why it's like the story starts where he's like, he knows exactly what's going on. He's like bedridden because the story starts out like, oh yeah, he's bedridden because of the loss of his wife. And then all of a sudden, like all this evil is happening. Then he's like, oh yeah, it's because there's like this evil happening at this castle.
His name's Walter.
His name's Walter, by the way. And like all these monsters are coming around and stuff like that. And you're like, how do you know this? Okay.
I'll take your word for it there, Maddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Krunkvist.
It's got a main hub area. You access the 5 different areas you can explore from the main spot. There's a little less Metroid-vania than I would like because it is very much... You go into an area and then
it is pretty linear.
It branches out in the linear areas, but it's always like kind of you're heading to a certain spot in each one of those.
Yeah, you have like branching paths, but they all like converge in the same place. Like it's not like... you know.
Yeah, there's
Kind of like Telltale games where essentially you're getting the same shit, but the details change.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And the stages don't connect to each other. There's like you go to the end and then you're back at the hub, and you go to the end and then you're back at the hub.
Yep.
Now, I haven't really played this one in depth. People lambast this one quite a bit.
Which is a shame. I like it.
I don't think it's bad, but I think that there were probably other games that were doing certain things better. I mean, I just think the camera and the combat, if they had a little more time in the oven, it would have lived up to everything else that's happening, because the story is excellent. The music is top notch.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do agree with you, though, because I think that's part of the reason that I never rented it, is hearing from friends like, that sucks, don't play it. Or, just hearing the negative things, probably due mainly to the camera. If my friend had told me that the soundtrack is an absolute banger, I might have rented it.
This cover is dope.
Yeah,
That's why
Very good cover.
I always saw it, and I was like,
it's a metal album cover.
I didn't realize when we were playing it with Nate that was the game.
Yeah.
I remember that cover now.
Yeah. I think what made the camera, for me, what made the camera a little bit more palpable to deal with was the fact that your whip had such a long range that a lot of times I'm just spamming the attack button because it's like, okay, I know there are enemies over there, so I'm just going to spam the whip button and then hopefully I hit them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do the wide attack and
Yeah, because there was like, your heavy attack and then your area attack where you're just kind of whipping it all
And
over
you
the place.
I don't really blame them for the camera, because, there's instances before this game where it worked. Like Resident Evil has the fixed camera and that game works.
But that's a survival horror where the element of not knowing what's going on is actually paramount to the experience.
And I wonder that's what they were trying to
think
go.
they were
trying to go on the coattails of Resident Evil
that's
and
what
have
I'm
it be a
thinking.
survival
But
horror
that's the
experience.
problem. Character action, like you have to know what you're doing when you're doing it because you're
That's
playing
true,
as
yeah.
the character.
But it's one of those concepts that on paper probably sounded really good, and then the execution just didn't hit the mark.
I think that's highly possible. And only give me a little bit of the pickle beer. I'm going to try it. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I really hate pickles.
This game does have sub weapons that are lifted from Harmony of Dissonance, and you can combine different sub weapons with different colored orbs. There is some variety there. There isn't much of significance, though, to find exploration wise, so there's no real reason to go out of your way to explore every room when there's not a lot extra there.
No, and that's what I wasted so much time on that in the past. It's like, what's down this hallway? Nothing.
And then you go back to the other room and the enemies have respawned, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it the first time.
Right.
I guess I'm back in. And additional characters, after completing it one time, you can play as Joaquin, who is a boss from the game. He's another vampire. And
There is a secret ending. He just all of a sudden takes his throne at the end of it.
which, at least if you're going to give a little story nod, I appreciate that when you have an extra playable character instead of literally nothing. But
Yeah.
and then after completing with Joaquin, you can play as a character called Pumpkin. Pumpkin is a jack-o'-lantern with candy for arms. Pumpkin attacks with a candy whip, and he's an adorable little pumpkin.
A candy whip?
He's a jack-o'-lantern with candy arms.
Oh,
Okay.
this came out over Halloween, so I suppose.
I think you're gonna like this beer, Dylan.
I hate pickles, man. You are so misguided.
Up next from Blue Owl Brewing, this is Pickled Little Boss. It is a sour pickle beer it's a seasonal beer with cucumber, dill, vinegar, and salt.
Oh, ugh.
You might like it.
I'm actually kind of excited now.
I mean, I'll try anything once. It's fine.
All right. I smelt it, and I'm already locking up.
Oh my god.
Oh, I hate this. Okay.
Oh god. Okay.
It is pickly. That's a little much.
That's not bad.
I will drink it and like
Yeah.
it, but Dylan looks conflicted. Like he doesn't want to like it, but he doesn't hate it.
I like it.
I don't hate it nearly as much as I thought I would.
It's not as sour.
I will agree. It's not as I maybe overplayed it. Kind of like
I
maybe what
expected
you
more
did.
of a.
Yeah.
I expected more of a bite, maybe.
It's not as sour as the pale ale. I feel like the pale ale was more sour.
I like. You
truth
get some
be
of
told-
the salt helps with this.
Yeah,
you can
it's
definitely
the
get the
salt. The salt is really cutting down on the vinegar.
It almost tastes like the old Dutch dill pickle chips.
I still can't
Yeah.
escape, but I still can't escape this kind of profile of bad wine,
Oh,
wine
yeah.
that went bad.
I see where you're coming
Yeah, I
from
can
there.
see that where it kind of pickles.
sour wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just someone left it out, didn't seal it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of seals, Castlevania: Dawn of Sorrow.
Arf, arf, arf.
Yay.
Known in Japan as Akumajo Dracula Sogetsu no Jijuka. Maybe. Demon Castle
sure.
Dracula Cross of the Blue Moon. This was released October 25th, 2005 for the DS in Japan, and it arrived in North America October 4th of that year. Developed by Konami, directed by Satoshi Kushibuchi, produced and written by Iga, and composed by Masahiko Kimura and Michiru Yamane. This is a rare direct sequel. You don't see this often. You got this with Castlevania 2.
Yeah.
And
Symphony of the Night and Rondo
Symphony of the Night is a direct sequel, but you don't play as the same character.
It doesn't. It counts, but it's also not really.
It's a chronological sequel.
Chronological
Yeah.
sequel. But yeah, this is
But this is a direct sequel with the same character.
a year later in the timeline. Very much. You know how everything was wrapped up neatly?
Well, it's the Simon's Quest to.
He's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even he's back. It's like you're still here because you're Dracula. It's like, yeah, you're still here. And yeah.
The plot of this one I remember being kind of dumb, but the gameplay is just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plot is there's a cult again because there's always a cult.
Always a cult, yeah.
Always a
We're
cult.
investigating a cult.
Yeah. The Mormons are trying to bring back Dracula.
I said it. I've been saying it for years.
No one listened.
Dracula
That's what they're
has
saving up
54
for.
child brides.
And he feels
Andrew Garfield must stop the crime.
he really doesn't like gay people either.
I don't think Dracula would have an issue with that.
No, actually, that's why I like Dracula.
Dracula's kind of ahead on a lot of approaches to lifestyles.
Yeah.
Except he will eat people and kill children.
Sucking their blood's really not eating them. It's like drinking them. He doesn't eat.
He doesn't eat them, he more
It's
drinks
not
them.
cannibalism. He drinks them.
But he's doing it in a loving and caring way.
He's
I think so.
Yeah.
cracking them open like a cold one. Just
Yeah.
You want to crack
Enjoy.
open a few
According
kids?
to the TV series, all he does is fucking.
I got a
fuck up
six-pack
people
of
that deserve
peasants.
it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
you want to come over tonight? I got a
That's why
6-pack
it's
of
like, I'm
peasants.
not
We're
even
gonna watch
mad
the
at this
football
guy.
game.
I got Peasant Light. Not a lot of meat on the bones.
Peasant life.
Drinks well, though. It's a lighter body.
Their blood's a little thinner than it should be.
Yeah.
Listen, did you put them in the fridge? Did you make sure the mountains show up on the side of them?
That's how you know it's cold.
Kids ready to drink. Return of Tactical Soul System. Although you've lost all of them and now you have to regain your abilities.
But you never lost them because you've always had them in you.
But gameplay-wise, they're
video
gone.
games.
Yeah.
But video games. But video games.
But I think that's how they explained it at the beginning, at least when I was playing it this morning. And they were like, how could I still do this? And the guy, I forget the name, Vincent or something like that. You're like handler or something like that.
Julius
He's like,
Belmont?
you've always, yeah, Julius.
Or-
you've
or-
always had them.
Are you talking about Genya Arikado, who is definitely just Alucard?
Okay.
Yep. Because Alucard is now a dude in a business suit who went to Japan to go studying
We're studying a cult.
cults in Japan.
Yeah.
And his name is Genya Arikado.
He comes back and he's like, let me tell you a thing or two about this thing called the stock market.
Alucard is Dracula. Whoa.
You know what Genya Arikado is backwards? Dracula.
Doesn't track.
Okay, I haven't done it. The Tactical Soul System is back, though. This time, souls can be strengthened by gathering multiple souls, which I guess is good. If you're going to run into so many zombie souls, at least they're worth something.
Mm-hmm.
It does enhance the system quite a bit.
And souls can now be combined for attacks. With Wi-Fi, you can trade souls over the internet.
Is this a DSi?
It's a DS thing.
Just a regular, yeah, I mean, you can play it on the DS, but
DSi is the only one that has Wi-Fi capability.
Well, yeah, it must be then. I'm just going with what I found online. You can trade souls over the internet with this game.
If it come out, yeah, it would have come around that time. I just had no clue. I forgot.
It would be one thing if you could like really power up your souls and teach them to surf, but this ain't Pokemon, you know? These are just, you got the Persephone soul and now it can vacuum. Maybe vacuum a little good.
Sure.
There's the vacuum joke.
yeah, it is.
I was looking for one. I haven't found an avenue for it yet.
Okay. Just Google vacuums. This game, since it's a DS game, of course, Dawn of Sorrow, DS, and they had to add touchscreen functionality because you can't have a Wii game without a waggle, and you can't have a DS game without something to do
true.
with the touchscreen. So whenever you beat a boss, a seal comes up on the screen, and you have to trace the seal.
It's not hard.
I mean, you can use your finger with it. Like
It's pretty easy.
It's tough on an emulator with a mouse.
that is true. Yeah, you're right.
So stop playing it illegally.
That was
Bro, buy the game yourself.
I read that somebody else did it. It wasn't me. Come on.
Read that somewhere, huh?
It's intense though. Like once you get to the end of the boss, you're already don't want to die, and you might be like nervous, and then you think you need to do it fast, but you don't. They'll actually give you as much time as you need to do the seal, as long as
Wait, what happens if you fuck up the seal?
the boss just comes back to life, and you have to keep fighting.
you have to keep fighting it. Yeah.
It's only with a fraction of their health.
But they'll keep coming back forever until you get the seal right.
And especially that last boss where it's like 7 points, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I mean, I did it.
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm good.
I mean,
at,
if Dylan did it,
maybe
Yeah.
I'm good at lines, baby.
you're an artist though. You know your line work is
Oh,
great.
but it's as easy as
Comes more
connecting
natural
dots.
to you, I guess.
They also have
You guys like connect the dots?
they have some strange rooms in here where you have to. There's ice blocks all over the room, and you have to use the stylus and break the blocks and create a path to get to the other side.
Oh, that sucked. I remember that.
There was one particular scene where like you had to like it reminded me of the Heat Man stage with in Mega Man 2.
Sure.
Where you took the jet like over the so there was like one scene where you had to take this like floating platform across the room and you had to like break ice blocks as it's moving. Otherwise you're going to drop down and then you got to fight all these knights and then do it all over again
Until you get there.
until you get that right. Yeah. Annoying.
Yeah,
But I mean it's cool.
but it's a DS game,
It's
so
a DS game, yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
This game has the best bonus mode in any Castlevania game. If you get to the final boss and die, Soma goes evil, and you unlock a mode where you get to play as 3 characters: Julius Belmont, Yoko Belnades, and Alucard. You can switch between them on the fly. It's Alucard. He just changes out of his business suit and he puts on his big fucking coat from Symphony of the Night. But they all play differently. Yoko plays kind of like Sypha, so it's definitely a callback. But it's even got a new story, like a continuation where they have to go in and kill Soma, who's gone evil. And there's like a whole like more scenes added and stuff, which I appreciate.
Yeah, because there's like 3 different endings to this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy that all these games seem to have multiple endings or multiple different like playable characters that change the playthrough on your second playthrough.
And I think I remember this one was more subtle because when you play as Soma, you had to like equip this like seal or something like that, some like guard against evil spirits because
it's a condom.
yeah. So like you got to wear this condom before you go in, to prevent Dracula from seeping into your soul, and that kind of goes where that
You ain't
ending
drinking
goes.
me, buddy.
Yeah, you ain't taking my blood.
Yeah.
And if
Let me-
if you don't do that, it's
Just a
like, and if
sip.
you don't remember it, then like you're kind of screwed. Then you get that bad ending. But
I love that though. To unlock this other mode, you have to lose to Chaos, and
Yeah.
then he goes full bad, and then the other
That is-
characters.
watch
That
your
is a-
girlfriend get like maimed, like that's
But that-
dark.
Yeah, the bad ending.
Yeah.
That was not a hard final boss battle for me.
None of
it's
these
not
generally
hard
are.
at all.
No, none of them were.
And especially if you powered up your magic enough, essentially you're fine. I would have never even seen that ending just because I was so obsessed with finding every little bit and corner in this place that by that time you're leveled up enough that you can just completely sweep.
There was one of your magic levels where you threw this like green slime thing at your enemy, and it caused like so much damage.
Because it sits there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it just like, but it would scream every time you use it. So you throw it, and it's like, and it was like that every time, and it was like, man, so powerful though.
I just stuck
Yeah.
with what looked cool because I was such a little edgelord boy. Like I wasn't. My mom wouldn't let me dress that way, but like
You did have a trench coat that you wore to class, though.
no, never.
You should have.
Yeah.
I would have believed it though.
Yeah, I was a part of the trench coat mafia. You know,
I think it's
I'm
just,
actually Dylan Klebold reborn, much like Alucard.
it's still surprising to me when I go in to do research for these things. I didn't know you could play as Simon Belmont in Harmony of Dissonance, and the fact that there is a mode in Dawn of Sorrow where you get to have 3 different characters.
Don't you miss an era where they had little itty bitty secrets like this that actually had like
But
more?
you didn't have to
like,
pay for.
Yeah, where they weren't like, hey, check all this shit out before you start actually playing your game.
Julius Belmont mode, $3.99.
Yeah,
You want
right.
it's so much cooler to have something hidden that they don't have to take credit for, But when people find it, they're just like, oh, have you heard about this? That's almost advertising for itself. They should keep doing stuff like that.
And then you have games like Super Punch-Out, which just got discovered a 2-player mode.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
I love that shit.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
There is a multiplayer versus mode in this game as well, where one player creates a section of the castle with enemies, and both players race to see who can get through it fast enough.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that's something that is cool with the stylus, where you can place things, and it's almost like a proto Mario Maker a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, because playing Mario Maker 2 on the Switch was just abysmal, but I loved it on the Wii.
It was so much better on the Wii.
I know. It's irreplaceable. Like,
Yeah.
I was so inspired to make things on the Wii because it was literally just the touch
The Wii
functionality.
U.
The Wii U, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's essentially the Wii. It's the same hardware, in my opinion. But no, yeah, the things they did with screens that they're kind of shying away from now because they kind of want to keep up with the big boys, they need to lean back into that.
This game also had a function where if you had Aria of Sorrow in the Nintendo DS's Game Boy Advance cartridge slot, a completed version,
I actually did this.
as well as Dawn of Sorrow, you were playing it there, you unlocked a special item of the rare ring. You get to start the game with an extra item. I think there's some other things too. But
Konami did this a
There's some
lot with
boosts.
a lot of their games, where like if you had like saved data from like other games,
Yeah.
you know, they gave you stuff.
Yep.
buy the other one.
Yeah.
Please buy the other one. And there is a direct sequel novel to this game.
What?
And it is the furthest in the timeline we get outside of 10,000 years in the future. And
Is it just about him kissing or something? And
there's not a lot of Soma in it. It's actually Orlok the vampire tries to rise to power, and Death teams up with the heroes to fight him because Death's like, I only have one homie, and it ain't you. And then, I don't know.
Okay.
It's only in Japanese. I couldn't read it. I just looked at the images a lot.
You just looked at all the characters and you're like, oh, I can't read it.
I still can't read this. I tried really hard. And we're going to be back to finish this puppy. Go the full Belmonty, as they say.
Yeah, there you go.
Who says that?
Tyler.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
I wish I could go back to young me. The amount of like rare
And
games
strangle
I had.
him and steal his games.
Yeah.
Be like, you little shit, you just don't get rid of them like that. Your mom says it's convenient, but keep the cases.
I didn't realize that it was worth that much.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like that it's got the little,
Yeah. Right off the shelf, dude.
a little damage up there. I mean, this isn't going to get WADA,
Wada.
the horrible grading system. Bradley, you got a D+. Fuck you, WADA. You're not my dad.
There's someone there's someone who would fucking pay for that.
And we're back, everybody. We're going to talk about some more Castlevania games. There's not a lot left. There's a couple of turkeys and a couple of good ones. I know this next one, Stoy.
They limited warranty.
Should we call?
You have 90 days.
90-day limited warranty for Castlevania 4.
I think that warranty might be void now.
Maybe.
I don't know. Let's count out the day.
What if you just bought it the other day?
I don't have the receipt.
Oh,
I don't know where-
that's where they get you.
I don't know where I got these. I think some of these are just like thrift store finds. Like my mom just like, here, these came in. And great. That's why I also have like 5 sports games for the Sega Genesis that I don't want. But they're in a box.
I'll take them if you don't want them.
Maybe.
I just take them for the cases, pretty much.
I don't have the cases. I just have
I would
cartridges. But
I honestly, I was looking at the artwork for this right now.
Super Castlevania 4.
Yeah, I would love to have this on my wall.
Yeah,
I would
frame.
frame this and put this on my wall.
Yeah.
It's that good.
The Lament of Innocence one, we talked about that one. How that's like a metal album cover. I would love to have that one on my wall.
Up next, we have Castlevania Curse of Darkness, known in Japan as Akumajo Dracula Yami
That
no
is a pretty
Jui.
metal cover too.
Demon Castle Dracula Curse of Darkness. This came out November 1st, 2005 for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. This is an original
I haven't
Xbox
even heard
release.
of this one.
This came out in North America. Have you watched all of the Castlevania anime?
Yeah.
Then you've seen the story for this anyways, because Hector, the Devil Forge Master, is the main character of this game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the third season.
It blew my mind when I was like, when I started watching it, I was like, that's Hector. Oh my God.
They got Curse of Darkness in here.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't
Which I thought like that was just like, I don't know, it just like shadowily, like I remember at the time when it came out, it was like, yeah, here's another Castlevania game. Like it seems like there was so much more of a marketing push for Lament of Innocence.
Yeah.
And then Curse of Darkness came on and I was like, yeah, whatever it is.
And this was on the
Lament
Xbox.
didn't do too well.
PlayStation 2.
Xbox
it didn't,
and PS2.
Comparatively, I think.
Yeah.
But it's, like, by all accounts, it was a better game.
Yeah, it took what the issues were for the first game, and they just fixed a bunch of stuff. Hector can use multiple weapons.
Yep.
There is a camera that you can move.
Yeah. But it's that was back in the time of inverted controls when left was right and right was left
For movement or camera?
for camera.
Can you change it?
No.
No.
I don't think you could.
You could only change, I think, certain aspects of the camera. I would say
speed,
like
like speed.
because when I fired this up, you could only change up and down.
Okay.
But like side to
That's-
side,
But the first Assassin's Creed famously had the inverted movement horizontally.
all the Prince of Persia games were like that too as
Yep,
well.
yep.
Just ugh.
Never understood that as a concept. It seems like just backwards. I mean, it obviously is backwards.
I got a buddy of mine that plays Call of Duty like that. Like
the-
I don't know how he does it.
But that's
famously.
that's just like a preference thing, and that's just what they're used to, and that's why there should always be options.
Yeah.
Really, honestly.
But
And-
then if you're playing the game, you have to pretend you're in an airplane.
yeah.
But
Or
if,
a boat.
If there's options, I mean, some people that's just the way that they've learned how to play, and it's just the way that they can play.
It's usually people of a certain generation, I think.
You're saying Thomas.
I mean, for me,
No, I love
for
that
me-
picture of him on the motorcycle, though.
Very cute. He
For
looks
me,
young.
that's what I learned
love
to
his
play
perm.
on. I learned to play that way. So it's like when these games came out, it was like, okay, left is right, right is left. I had no choice but to adapt. But like once they started making games correctly,
Yeah.
then it was like, well, this is way better.
I think it just boils down to first person versus third person, because like in a first person shooter, you want like right and left to work the way that we're used to now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if it's third person, the camera is like separate, so it's got a
I don't understand it.
yeah. At
But
least
still,
yeah.
like I said, once you get used to it, which doesn't take long, I mean, by all accounts, the fact that you can move the camera just makes the combat so much easier.
Yeah.
Especially since you don't really have a whip to start. So
Yeah. You play as a devil forge master who used to work for Dracula, then you retired, and then you're sucked back in.
and Dracula's so butthurt. Why did you leave me?
Dude, we were friends. We used to hang out all the time.
we used to be drinking buddies, man.
Remember
gave
every
me a-
zombie you made? There's a lot of
Remember
them.
every monster you made? Where's that? Let's go back to that.
we drank
man.
so much blood that night, dude.
It's your fault. You gave me a 401k. I guess I'm retired, man. Leave me alone.
Yeah, right. I'm moving on.
I got another job, dude.
Dude, you killed my wife, bro.
I'm bartending now. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just do it on the weekends for some extra scratch.
I don't know how you like renounce humanity, join Dracula's castle, and then like maybe I don't want to do that. I don't know. It's just a lot of flip flopping. Hector is a flip flopper and very shameful.
Well,
Yeah.
what's interesting, what they do in the anime too, is they make him like an ex-slave, and like
Yeah.
Dracula was his liberator.
Yeah.
which gives him a lot more motivation to stick around with him.
yeah, the origin story, which we'll talk about in the timeline episode, but it's pretty heavy metal. He's just like a lonely kid, and like his dog dies. And he wants to like bring it back to life, so he just accidentally starts getting into dark magic, and he starts reanimating animals.
We've all been there.
I mean,
Yeah.
what happened to you as a kid?
What's the next game?
This takes place 3 years after Castlevania 3. Trevor Belmont is featured in the game.
Oh, wow,
no
yeah.
Grant and Nasty. That dude is just hitting on ladies everywhere he
So
can.
hold on, pump the brakes for a second. Where does this take place in the timeline? Where am I at?
3 years after Castlevania 3.
Okay.
So we're talking about Trevor.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about Trevor. You, as a Devil Forge Master, you need to go find your lady who was stolen or killed. I forget. Well, that doesn't matter. But
Killed.
Your buddy is the one responsible, Isaac, and you have to relearn your Devil forging abilities. And so you create different kind of familiars. You can make fairies, like demons, bats. You create different Pokemon that fight with you, essentially, and you can power them up.
Love it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Five different.
I never really moved past the fairy
Yeah.
which was like the first one that you get because it just healed you just spontaneously.
And
like
it's
you're-
useful.
So it was like you got all the other ones, all the other like kind of infinite whatever they call those. But like the fairy was just kind of the go-to. That's what
Stick
I
with
kept
what
it.
you know.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
I get it.
I did
To me,
the
that
same-
was more useful than like any of the other ones that gave you combat buffs or even just like helped you out.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Symphony of the Night. I always just rather have a little bit of spontaneous healing. Also, status effects getting cured is a nice thing.
Yep.
The best type of Innocent Devil would be the pumpkin type. It's meant for a joke purpose, but it does raise your luck significantly. Bring your pumpkins to battle. Fixed camera is removed. Target lock-on is added. You can now choose who you attack.
Which was introduced in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
10
millions
years
of
later.
years. Yeah. It's so funny to me. Oh my God.
Yeah. Different times, but 10 years after those times when they should have known better.
Yeah.
After beating the game, you can play as Trevor Belmont. Most enemies will drop items or materials which can be used to create equipment. There is like a pretty robust forging system, not only for familiars, but also for equipment and weapons. And
Yeah, because you're gathering materials as you're killing, defeating enemies, and then you could like combine a bunch of them to like create like stronger swords, stronger axes, and stuff. So
most of this game doesn't take place in Castlevania. You are a lot of pretty hallways, and you out in the wild, you between places. You fight a time traveler named Saint Germain. That's pretty fucking weird.
weird
And
dude, just a weird dude.
weird dude.
Just a weird dude.
He is.
Well, have you ever heard he's an actual character from history, the Count Saint Germain?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's an actual time traveler.
No, he's
Appar-
not a time traveler, an
Apparently,
immortal.
Immortal. That was it. Yeah.
It's a form of time travel.
Very slowly.
So
One direction.
it's believed to just be a farce, but of course,
the
'cause no
Y
one's
Files,
actually
a
immortal.
YouTube channel, actually just debunked it. Like, you did a really good job
I know,
of
yeah.
actually.
Well, there's also one on Astonishing Legends of Count Saint Germain, and they kind of break down how people may have used it like almost like Batman, like a mantle that they carried with them to gain like notoriety and move forward in noble society because everyone knew this story and they kept rolling with it.
Yeah.
We have a Saint Germain liqueur at where I work and make cocktails, and it's an elderflower, and I'm just starting to put the pieces together on why they named an elderflower Saint Germain.
Hey, there you go.
Saint Germain.
It's wonderful. Like is it the Generation Y podcast?
No, it was called at least where I heard of it recently was the Y Files. It's like
The Y Files?
Yeah, on
Okay.
YouTube, like
That's
where he
dope.
actually does a really good deep dive into like conspiracy theories, but actually debunks a lot of it.
Yeah, that's good.
So he
Yeah.
he'll start the video out with telling you the legend and then like debunks it at the end where he's like, yeah, this is all garbage. So
I love it. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to listen to that later.
Yeah.
So
The Xbox version of this game has slightly better graphics.
it did, I remember, because I bought it for the Xbox when it first came out.
Yeah.
Because of that.
I was looking online. These games aren't cheap. They're not too expensive if you wanted to get one of the Curse of Darknesses now, but more than I want to spend. But the PS2 does have an extra item accessible only with the Lament of Innocence save, so that's kind of cool. Again, buy the other game.
Castlevania game. Oh, I hear you like Konami game.
You don't save often.
They're doing Psycho Mantis if you don't know.
It's Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, okay.
He would read your memory
Curse of
card.
Darkness.
You had that look like I love jokes.
Yeah,
I wish I
Curse
knew
of
that.
So
I was like,
literally,
yeah, what?
this is gonna blow your mind. Back in like the PlayStation 1 era,
We won't.
when
No. We'll talk about that another time.
he would move the controller for you.
Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. This is known in Japan as Akumajo Dracula Gallery of Labyrinth.
Gallery of can't name
Every
things in proper
single one of
English.
these titles sounds like a Good Charlotte album.
Yeah.
Are they still around?
I don't know. But
No one knows.
You mean My Chemical Romance? Or you mean Good Charlotte?
Good Charlotte. My Chemical Romance has
They're kind of
a
the
little
same.
more heavy metal. Like the Black Parade's a little more heavy metal than like the Chronicles of Life and Death.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you totally get what I'm saying right
Good
now.
Charlotte, My Chemical Romance.
Portrait of Ruin came out for the DS in Japan November 16th, 2006, and in North America December 5th of that year. Produced and written by Igarashi again. This is composed by Michiru Yamane, but no Ayami Kojima. She didn't return as Iga said her style didn't really work for younger gamers. So they have a much less interesting style for Portrait of Ruin.
I think they were trying to get hip with the time, and I know what they replaced it with. It does not look nearly as good in terms of they wanted to do what anime looked like at the time.
Yeah, they really
thought
did.
That's what was going to bring people in, but that's a very specific style. It's when they were starting to go softer and less detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the way that these ones are soft, like the Baroque-esque type way, but I thought it looked kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I don't have a problem with, but I was also like, yeah, this is too anime.
This is a follow-up to Castlevania Bloodlines. This one is set during World War II instead of World War I.
30 years
Really?
later.
Yeah. You play as Jonathan Morris, son of John Morris, and Charlotte Olin.
Oof.
It has a dual character system where you can switch between characters on the fly. The other one stays there constantly, though, when it's doing their own fighting next to you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That is actually the best part about that game.
Yeah, you can use different weapons, but you start with the vampire killer, even though John isn't a Belmont. Charlotte has magic, and famously in this game, you enter paintings.
Isn't it with John Morris's story that the vampire killer is actually killing him?
Yes, because he's not
He's
full
not
Belmont.
He's not full Belmont, yeah.
Yep.
Because,
And
that was going back to Bloodlines. I think, like, John Morris ended up dying 3 years after the game or something.
yeah, and Jonathan thought his dad was like just a dickhead who didn't teach him anything and like was an absent father, but really he didn't teach him how to be a vampire hunter or use the vampire killer because he didn't want his son to die the way he was dying.
Yeah.
And he finds that out through Eric Lecard's ghost, who is stuck in this castle. And Eric Lecard's daughters are twin vampire girls in this because Bronner, his daughters died in World War II, and he was so angry he became a vampire and kidnapped these girls. Fun. Yeah, timeline stuff, you know?
Wow.
It's great.
We're not going to be able to hold any of this in our heads.
The painting stuff is cool, though. Like, you go into ancient Egypt, and it gives you a good reason to just have major location shifts.
I mean, it's Mario 64, man.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's really dope.
Yeah.
Explore the imagination sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Our next beer from Blue Owl Brewing is Dapper Devil. It is a sour raspberry Belgian-style ale, coming in with a light ABV of 9%. Seasonal ale with
9.
raspberries.
9%.
9%.
Wow.
Jeez.
Golly.
Okay, I had some. I like it.
Ooh,
that is tart.
nice raspberry flavor there.
Yeah.
That is very tart.
Very tart.
It's pretty drinkable. I maybe could only do one.
Yeah.
I would
Same.
beer bong 64 ounces of this in a row.
You're gonna throw up everywhere.
Again. And in this...
We'll save it for your second
I was
bachelor
going to say,
party.
yeah.
Or for your first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, puke as much as you want. I'm not going to be there.
Okay, this is a fun note. In a hidden section of the city of Hayes, you'll find a small area with a baker, a skeleton bartender, and 2 amusing secret weapons, the pie and the paper airplane. If you upgrade your paper airplane, you'll occasionally see little stick figures riding it. These
fun.
guys are Koitsu and Suitsu from Konami's parodious Shoot 'em Up series. These guys ride paper airplanes, speak in a gibberish language, and equip condoms as shields.
What?
Lovely.
Sweet.
Wonderful. There is, after completion, you can play as the vampire sisters Stella and Loretta, controlled solely with the D-pad and attacks with stylus. I think that is a fun extra mode.
Yeah.
And not something you have to do the first time. But
Yeah.
they're designed to, like, that's how you control them. So that's kind of cool. There's also a Richter/Maria mode where you can play as those characters again. It is the largest 2D Castlevania by square footage, this game.
That makes sense.
I don't think I ever beat this game, and that's probably the good reason why.
I
think I remember
didn't.
this game being too massive.
Yeah, I beat this one once. This was the last Igavania well, that's not true, but I didn't beat the next one after this.
Okay.
But the next game for Castlevania is Order of Shadows. This is a mobile phone game. Came out September 18th, 2007. It's on Java.
Great.
Remember Java?
Oh man,
It's supposed to be terrible.
I could have played this on my LG Dare,
Yeah.
the whole 3.5-inch screen.
I watched a video of this. It's very bad. Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles came out for the PSP. We talked about that a little bit before. 2.5D remake. It's just super great that it includes Symphony of the Night and the original Rondo of Blood on there, which is
The game looks so good.
It was the only way to get. I would think it was the first time you could get Rondo of Blood for the Sega Genesis, or
in America.
In America, yeah,
Yeah, correct.
It's good.
And the Symphony of the Night port, you can play as Maria and use the nose demon, so we like that.
yeah.
The last like kind of main entry, Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. Known in Japan as Akumajo Dracula, Uba Waretu Kokuin, The Stolen Seal. This was released October 21st, 2008 in North America for the DS and 2 days later for Japan.
I've always wanted to play this. I never got my hands on it.
This is supposed to be like the toughest Castlevania.
I was just gonna say I was a big baby with this.
Oh yeah,
Big baby. I was like, this game's too hard for me.
They scale back the number of enemies big time, and they just make the small enemies like you have to
Superpower, yeah.
You have to think about what you're doing and be engaged, like a Souls game. But yeah, like the bosses, they can take a lot of damage, so you have to actually learn all their patterns and know what you're doing. A lot of people who I've listened to talk about this game that I kind of stay with their opinions and agree with them. They say this is one of their favorites. I haven't played this one, surprisingly. I thought that I had played all of them, but when I looked into it, I have not. But
It's got the worst title.
Yeah.
Order of Ecclesia.
Who's that meant for?
What's Circle of the Moon meant for? I mean,
at least it's evocative.
yeah, I can see your point. It has a female protagonist. Igarashi started to realize that
What a
women
twist.
are okay.
All of a sudden,
It's like, fine.
now he's fine with female protagonists.
Definitely, you can see where Bloodstain gets its character, Miriam, because she's covered in like stained glass tattoos. Shanoa's covered in tattoos, and she gets her power by exposing her back tattoo to like,
He just loves alt girls, man.
yeah, just pale, dark
Very
hair,
sexy.
tattoos.
Everybody's got a
That's
type.
actually, that's kind of my type.
Everybody's got a type.
If Brad were a lady. Ooh,
I'm not that pale.
you are.
Wait till winter.
I do have tattoos, though. I do. Yeah, but we'll wait till winter. Shanoa's modeled after Iga's wife. And Igarashi was asked, why did you decide to switch it up and go with a female lead character?
I think that is the most frequently asked question I get these days. Geez, I wonder why. I guess there is a stigma that female characters get killed off easily or quickly. To be honest, it was a reaction to fans. They are the ones who have been requesting a female lead. Another reason is that we came up with the storyline first, and I felt that a female character fit with the storyline a lot better than a male character. The third reason is that I really liked the rendering that the artist did of a female character and decided to go with it. Did this game have jiggle physics? I don't remember.
It had, every time she absorbs the like spirit, she like her back just arches and it like faces the screen.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I
Yeah.
love that.
She's the main character now.
I'm into it.
Yes.
Composed by
I like
Michiru
that.
Yamane. She would leave Konami after this game. She came to this decision after she got a pet cat and she wanted to work from home. Which
That'll do it.
that's a heartwarming story.
I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah. Considerably difficult, this game. And the glyph system, you absorb magical powers from glyphs and you access magical weapons and abilities. Everything you do is magic. All of your weapons are magic. All of your attacks take up the bar, which can replenish fairly quickly. But first canonical game in series to not have the vampire killer. There is like a world map. You go around different places. I'm very excited to play this game when I do get to it. I don't have much else to say about it. There is a hard mode you can get to if you
Why?
if you connect to Castlevania Judgment on the Nintendo Wii. You unlock bonuses for both games.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Yep. You unlock characters in Judgment and accessories. Speaking of judgment. Castlevania Judgment came out for the Nintendo Wii in North America November 18th, 2008, and it came out Japan a couple months later. It's a fighting game for the Wii.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about this.
You've played it, so...
Yeah, I know. All I hear is like the sound effects and like the screams. Because, you know, like with every fighting game, there's always like, yep. Because like this game shined because like the more distance you can get from your enemy and you're just spamming, kind of an attack button.
Yeah.
And like you're launching daggers and you're launching other things at people. It's just, that's all I want to say about this game.
Closer to Power Stone than Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
A little bit more arena based.
It should have been a side-scroller fighting game. That would have actually been a lot more interesting.
It actually probably should have been, honestly. Because the problem was obviously every Wii game, especially first-party Wii game, made you use the waggle physics. So,
You could. There's also options to not use the waggle physics, thankfully.
I didn't go too deep into it.
Yeah, and...
a turd's a turd. You
Yeah.
polish it.
Yep.
So this takes place...
Putting a blanket over a pile of shit is still a pile of shit.
This place takes place 10,000 years in the future. Galamoth is working with the Time Reaper, who's going to rewrite all of time and create a new universe. And he creates a vortex that is summoning in characters from all of time. And when I say from all of time, from a brief 1,000-year period, 10,000 years ago.
Gonna say.
Yeah, everybody was showing up.
But you have Cornell from Castlevania 64, Legacy of Darkness. You have Grant Dynasty. You have Maria Renard. You have all of the characters. And if anything, the only thing that I do enjoy looking up about this game is when the characters before the battle, like in Mortal Kombat, when they like say, "Oh, you're Trevor," and he's like, "I'll kill you." That's just sometimes they're interesting. Maria Renard is a child in this game, maybe like a 14, 13-year-old. She's younger, and every time she runs into a female character, everything that she says is, "Your boobs are like a gift."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, they really go hard on that.
Hey! Are you a vampire hunter?
I am. If you're here, you must be one as well.
Uh-huh. They're huge.
Will you stop? These things only get in the way.
How can you say that? Those are a sacred gift!
It's very funny.
It's a very common trope in a lot of like anime and stuff for like little girls to be like somehow obsessed with big boobs because they also want big boobs when they get older. I don't agree with
boys
it.
are obsessed too.
That is a legitimate
Not Tyler.
cultural thing with Japanese anime and Japanese kind of media like that. Like it's just,
Kids are a huge obsession.
Yeah, they are, and it's just, I think it's probably that FOMO thing. I don't know.
Fear of missing out on
Fear of
tits.
missing out, yeah, on tits.
Fomats.
The
Yeah.
Belmonts.
Fomats.
All the characters have this redesign, which I think looks pretty bad. By
I think
famed,
some of them are interesting though.
they're interesting, but deviate from what you expect in a big way. These are
But
by
they have to be.
Takeshiya Obata from Death Note. That's what you're talking
That
about.
explains the
Yeah,
BDSM.
it's okay,
That
That explains
right.
the BDSM looks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So this would have been 2008. That would have been the peak height of. I think Death Note just finished around 2008. I think it ran for about 8 years serialized. I can't tell you for sure though. But he knows how to design.
Now we can talk about some weird shit. Castlevania the Arcade came out February 2009 in Japan. Didn't come to North America. It's a rail shooter at an arcade, and one of the weapons is a whip.
Where I can whip.
Yep, it's like a whip, and you actually like have to aim the whip and do that.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that.
I remember seeing this. I obviously never played
I
it.
desperately
but yeah.
want to play that.
I think it's down in Chicago at Galloping Ghost.
okay.
Yeah.
You're right. I think that's where I saw it.
You play as Vampire Hunter, Little Witch, or Lady Gunner. Those are just, they don't have names. And
Everyone wants to be Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth came out October 27, 2009 in Japan, and shortly later for America. It's part of the WiiWare remakes that they were doing for a couple games. They did this. Contra and Gradius. It's actually a really...
Like Castlevania Adventure, the Game Boy version?
It's a remake of that.
Okay.
It adds a whole bunch to it. It's really good. It's a really good Castlevania game. Classic style.
Okay.
And it's only on WiiWare, and it's not playable at all anymore unless you have it for WiiWare.
Isn't that cool?
Gotta love that, right? Castlevania Puzzle Encore of the Night came out for iOS in 2010.
For iOS.
Imagine the story of Symphony of the Night with like Connect 4 meets Puyo Puyo.
I love Puyo Puyo.
Castlevania Harmony of Despair. This came out for Xbox Live Arcade August 4th, 2010.
Better than Tetris.
And it came out PlayStation Network September 27th, 2011 in North America. Developed by Konami, directed by Igarashi. Igarashi's last game.
Yeah.
Ayami Kojima makes some new great art, like Jonathan Morris and some of the characters that she wasn't involved with. She does her like own interpretations, which are really great.
Ooh, I gotta look those up.
Multiplayer loot-based questing, up to 6 players. Essentially, you have the entire Castlevania map, and you can just go all the way out and see everything at once.
Is it randomly generated?
No, and it becomes loot-based. So what you go to certain parts of the map, certain characters can get to different areas, and you'll unlock parts, and you kind of have to work together to get to the boss. There's treasure chests scattered. Some of them you're looking for rare drops. That's the kind of the name of the game, but I think this game's really cool.
Yeah, no, it was.
We watched you play it on Tom's projector one time.
That was great because with a projector you can get the screen so big. So when the further out you go, it looks great being able to see the entire map and enemies moving.
That was
around
actually
at
really
once.
cool.
Yeah.
Strange game.
Yeah. I didn't get too far into it.
I played it for a while and it was past its prime, so not a lot of people were playing it.
Yeah.
But I talked to people on Xbox Live and I made a couple friends because they were trying to help me get a Chrysogram.
Ooh, do you want a kiss? Ooh.
I gotta go to work now, guys. But yeah, they have characters from all over the series. It's pretty cool. 6 stages and then 5 DLC stages. This is when Konami did start pushing DLC everything, which is unfortunate.
Once they started seeing they can make money off that.
And sadly, the Xbox 360 versions, the Xbox versions, no split screen not split screen, but no like couch co-op. The PlayStation one you can.
Yeah.
Xbox you can only do online multiplayer.
A huge boner killer. Like, I prefer the social aspect when I have someone in the room with me. I have played games with friends online, but it misses that like actual socialization aspect. I think when people think they're being social online, they're not actually doing it.
Yeah.
There's a whole different thing to playing games with friends, and being physically in the room actually makes a ton of difference.
It does.
Yeah.
And I miss it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it makes for a better overall experience.
That was great.
fun.
That was great. A couple weeks ago, we all just got really drunk and played Castlevania here. Just took turns playing single player games, but it was great.
If I hadn't made plans, I would have been there.
Yeah.
And been as drunk as you weirdos.
I did that with a lot of friends playing Resident Evil, just like passing the controller back and forth. You know, that
Yeah,
was
it's
always
fun.
Yeah, it is more fun.
What are you going to lose by like just having a fucking good time and hanging?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When we all cheered when you were able to like beat a boss.
Oh, that was so nice.
yeah.
I did it though. It was actually really harrowing. I almost died.
Like literally?
Not in real life.
Oh, not in real life.
Almost had a heart attack.
Almost had a heart attack.
It's weak.
Feeling weak in my left side of my chest.
That's why Brad's got a defibrillator hanging in his living room.
Brad, my left arm is getting numb again.
Zap him. Clear. Igarashi left the company in 2014. After having been moved to Konami's social division in 2011, he felt he was unable to release any new games. With Konami shifting its focus towards mobile game development, he founded his own studio and has successfully made Bloodstained.
A very long Kickstarter campaign.
That was a huge weight.
Yeah.
I played it the other day, and I don't like it as much as I used to. The art design is just not as good as I remembered it.
I said this the first. You and Tom were so high on it.
We were high on playing new EXPCast. We were just high on
I
that.
know, and I was just like, these hallways are a bit too long.
It's not even that. It's the fucking look of the game.
Oh, it just looks crummy.
Yeah,
I thought that too when I'm with you on that. I thought that too when it first came out. I was like, man, I would rather play I would rather play the D-Make, that they put out before.
Yeah,
honestly, Curse of the Moon is very good.
It's very good.
Yeah, I would rather play that than I think just Bloodstained in general.
But after
I hate
this,
saying that, but
Konami went a different direction. Castlevania Lords of Shadow came out for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 October 5th, 2010. Reboot of the series. Developed by Mercury Steam and Kojima Productions. These people were known for Clive Barker's Jericho. Kojima worked as an advisor, and by all accounts, he would come in a couple times and say, make it more like Guillermo del Toro, and he pretty much just spoke up for the studio and said, leave them alone, they're fine.
Yeah.
Which is all they needed to get the game out, because Konami didn't want to give money, and he said, I approve of it.
that explains why Pan, the mythical creature, was in it.
And looks very much like it's
Pan's
straight out of
Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. This game by no accounts is bad.
What?
It's also not great.
I think it's fine. It's very 360.
I like what they did with. I liked that they tried something new. Let's put it that way. I like that they actually tried something that reinvented the formula, gave us something new. I hate exactly that this looks and feels and plays like a game from 2010. That's maybe the biggest flaw that it has. Like, it just feels like such a relic of its own era that you can't get past it. And there are a few things maybe they could have done to kind of fix it, but it's also like storyline, the voice acting at the time. Is Nolan North in this?
No.
I swear
If he's
to God.
not,
No.
they couldn't.
I don't
get
think
him.
so,
He was
yeah.
he was booked doing
I mean,
something.
Patrick
else.
Stewart was in it.
Patrick Stewart's like the narrator.
Yeah.
I know. Like Richard Madden is in these games. He was Rob
I
Stark.
forget who
Fine.
who Belmont was.
But getting to your
He was
point,
another
Not
famous
just-
actor.
He's not just Belmont, though, is he?
when I was playing this game,
Well,
what I thought was the charm of it was this is such an Xbox 360 game. Everything about it was like,
No, yeah, that's what I was
that's
saying.
what I
yeah.
liked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's of its time. It's got like button prompts and like shitty little like QTEs.
Oh, those quick time elements. Yeah. So like the ring, and then once the ring kind of closes into the center ring, like it was just kind of annoying.
Timing that out.
That's what I was enjoying. I'm like, this is not a game they make anymore, and I thought it was
Well,
interesting.
they know not to.
You know what stood out for me was the shaky cam of it. Like the shaky cam was kind of the thing.
Oh,
when you
the
said,
shaky.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The
Yes.
Gears
I
of
never
War
even
did that.
thought about. Oh my
Yeah,
God. It's
Gears
just,
of War kind of like did that with the roadie run, and because I played this last week, and I was like, God, it's so hard to kind of focus on something, especially once you start getting into the combat moments. It's like shaky cam, and especially those quick time elements. The camera gets so much worse, and it's like it's just jarring.
Yeah,
It's another example of when games were just trying to be something that they aren't. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, think of Last of Us with shaky cam. That could have been a choice they made.
yeah,
They rightfully just kept the camera steady and said,
Thank
like, listen.
God.
yeah, right.
I mean, like, think of even like, but around this time, you had things like The Hunger Games. And The Hunger Games was like one of the most popular movies in the world, but it was shaky cam the entire time. And I remember being there with my ex and just going like, I can't watch this anymore.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
even. I mean, and that's one of those things when if you go to a movie theater, it's so much more disorienting because it's on the big screen.
If it were
yeah,
a
it's-
documentary, I'd be fine. But like, because you can't control that. You're documenting stuff. But you made the literal choice to make this seem like
Jennifer Lawrence's acting is better when you can't see it.
Ouch.
I actually
She's actually fine. She's
She's probably a decent person.
she's actually really good in that movie. But yeah, I get it.
mostly a bad joke. My experience, I played this game for maybe 5-6 hours the other day. I really enjoyed it for what it is.
I beat it in its entirety. I like the replayability of it because there's a lot of things and secrets you can kind of miss, so you can actually go back at any time throughout the story and
revisit them.
revisit them. Yeah, find all the life gems or even like explore a little bit more because, every area had branching paths, but, like for the most part, you can
Want to
just
find
steamroll
everything.
through it. Yeah.
Gives
Well,
you
this is-
a good reason to go re-explore things.
This is also proto Bayonetta, is what I want to call it.
Now, if Gabriel Belmont, if he
Gabriel,
was
yeah.
wearing the same outfit as Bayonetta, I would have liked it even more.
I already told my wife I'd leave her for Bayonetta. But it's
What a strange thing to just bring up. Like you're sitting there, just so you know, I would leave you if Bayonetta was real.
I mean, I would. I told her, and it's fine.
Yeah.
She agrees.
I was just told by my wife that she would leave me for Nathan Drake.
That's
Tom
fine.
Holland.
No, like we're talking like Uncharted. Like,
Actual-
So you're talking
See.
Tom Holland. He's
no.
Did they make games based on that movie?
Yeah, they did.
No, we're talking like video game version Nathan Drake.
Spider-Man.
I was like, okay, all right.
This is the best-selling Castlevania game of all time.
Really?
I believe it.
Yes, it is.
Yep. And it has DLC called Reverie and Resurrection. Takes place after the main game, but before the epilogue. Great.
Yeah.
We need your money.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, we are gonna fucking make casino games till we die. And they did. Up next is Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate. This was a release for the 3DS. Came out March 5th, 2013, and then they brought it to the Xbox 360 and PS3 because they knew they could make more money with the same game.
Yep.
And that came out October 25th in 2013.
This game was rough. Like it looked good, but controlled like ass.
Very bad.
Yeah.
They're like, let's take the Lords of Shadow concept and try and make it into the worst Metroid-vania possible.
Yeah, it was just, man, it looked good, like I said, but just controlled so slow. It was so clunky. It was like, it goes back to that Jeff Goldblum. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
They didn't think about whether or not they should actually
Yeah.
make this game,
Yeah.
but Konami said we need money.
Yeah, exactly. We need to make a new Castlevania game for the 3DS.
I couldn't last.
I think
long.
that was the only official 3DS Castlevania game.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I only lasted 30 minutes. I tried, and it
Yeah.
was that bad.
it really was.
That takes us to Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. This was released February 25th, 2014 for the 360 and PS3. Again, developed by Mercury Steam, directed by Enric Alvarez. Gabriel, turns out Gabriel Belmont is Dracula, spoiler warning.
Shocker.
Oh no.
He's now Dracula, awakening in the modern age, and you fight to stop Satan. Because who's worse than Dracula?
Satan.
I guess.
Yeah.
False.
False. My ex-wife. Yeah. You enter your mind castle to reclaim your powers and fight your demons. Distinctly sci-fi. You do fight mechs and riot soldiers with machine guns. No chapters, but an open world. Camera is fully user-controlled.
I've never played this. What the fuck?
QuickTime events are optional and disabled by default.
Yeah.
They put them in there, but they have them turned off by default. Like if you want them, you can turn them back.
But that was
on.
when it was starting to become a tired trope. You know,
It started to become annoying.
it started to become really annoying.
I've never. The only time I've ever liked a QuickTime event was Resident Evil 4 because that was
the
such
knife fight.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
knife fight with the what's his name?
Krauser.
Krauser. thank
Krauser,
you.
yeah.
Oh, was
I
thinking of
really
another
hope
German
they
name.
keep that in the remake. I
Oh
really do.
my god, they're not going to.
I know they won't, but I would like it.
I used to have a Krauser action figure with the big blade hand.
Oh, sick.
I don't know where the hell it is. I miss it.
Find it.
This game was not did not review well. People
No.
did not like it.
No.
Nope.
A letter from an anonymous staff member was released, and they said many things. One,
This shocked me, actually.
Kojima had little to nothing to do with development. He came by, set a seal, visited the studio, signed things, and that was it. The vast majority of this team is aware that the game we've done is a real piece of shit. That has nothing to do with the first one's quality and production values. No one is surprised with the reviews we got.
Why?
If there's someone to blame here, it's our director, Enric Alvarez. He is the person who has led a broken development based on his personal criteria, completely overlooking programmers, designers, and artists. Despite his nice look to the press, this guy has serious problems. He is a mean and naughty guy, and since the success of
A
Lords of
mean and naughty guy?
that's what it said.
That's what I am. I'm a little devil man. I'm gonna be a naughty boy.
His ego has grown to the point.
Good naughty.
His ego has grown to the point of not even daring to say hello when you meet him in the hallway.
What a dick.
What a cunt.
His distrust to his own
Sorry.
workers is enormous. Much of the development team found out features of the game through press news rather than through the studio.
Oh my god.
Oh, we're doing that in the game? No one told us. I guess we read it though.
He sounds like a middle management guy who got lucky.
Many of the studio founders are people with zero abilities for running a studio. Absolutely every design idea has to be monitored, taken away, and mutilated by Enric Alvarez. This is all like officially what was said in this letter. There's a lot.
Is it Enrique?
It's Enric is what it is. Enric Alvarez, not Enrique.
Okay. I'm just making
The
sure.
production management for this project has been terrible. After completing Lords of Shadow 2, Mercury's team fired 35 workers, and it's embarrassing that no website or journalist is willing to talk about it. That was one person. Yeah. So
That's scathing.
Yeah.
You know,
the dude was drunk one night. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm sending this fucking letter.
there is a part of me that thinks that if Konami had any like balls whatsoever, they would find like, because they make ROM hacks of this all the time. If they got like a Christian Whitehead kind of version of someone who could play with Castlevania a little bit, especially with Symphony of the Night style.
Yeah.
I think that you could make like one of the most successful indie game. Well, it wouldn't be indie obviously, but I think you could really make a stellar video game if you you have to let the next generation kind of be like, we know what's good about this. This is why we're obsessed with it. We know what's going to be good. And if they could make like a Sonic Mania, but with Castlevania,
I think that the potential for that happening is better now because
definitely better.
Konami has started to make a few moves in a good direction. Finally,
well,
it only took them 10 years.
Well, I mean, it took the pandemic, let's be clear, because nobody was playing their pachinko machines when nobody was allowed to go outside.
But everybody
Why
was
are you-
buying retro video games during the pandemic, and
Yep.
I hate that you're right about that.
yeah.
I'm so right. I mean, it's fine.
The only reason that they're getting out of pachinko machines is because they're not getting played as much.
Yeah, people don't want to touch them because they're gross.
Yep.
Speaking of gross. Castlevania Grimoire of Souls came out for the iOS September 17th, 2019.
Wow.
I just searched on the iOS. It's not even on the store anymore.
Delisted now.
Delisted, yeah.
Is it delisted on Google Play?
I would say the only Castlevania game you could play on the iOS is Symphony of the Night.
this
Are you
is
fucking kidding?
Yeah.
this isn't available anymore. Ayami Kojima did do original art, and Michiru Yamane composed the score. Arikado must enter books with Castlevania history because of dark stuff. That's right. We're doing we're doing Kingdom Hearts. Jiminy Cricket goes into the book game. I forget the name of it. Coded.
It is coded, yeah. RE coded.
Yep. Oh man. This game
Like
can
recoded,
be.
get it?
I get it.
This game can be
thanks.
co-op. Features
glad.
4-player multiplayer modes, in-game currency, and microtransactions.
Oh, boy.
Motherfucker.
Wow, this sounds horrible.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
To be
that sounds
delisted
bad.
after less than 3 years is astonishing.
The story is okay. We'll talk about that in the timeline one.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
And that's all of the official releases of Castlevania games.
Sure.
We do have some canceled ones. There's not many, so we'll go through them quick. Castlevania 32X, we mentioned that with Symphony of the Night. The Bloodletting. Canceled between December 1994 and October 95. If you want to hear more, check out the Patreon episode. There is Castlevania Symphony of the Night for the Gamecom, the game.com. That one was canceled. We don't know if it ever really existed. There's a few pictures that might be fake.
Sure.
Castlevania Resurrection for the Dreamcast. Canceled in March 2000. This one's interesting. This was going to be a launch title, first to be developed by an American team. The game was canceled, though, due to doubt in the Dreamcast.
That's what makes me so upset about the Sega Dreamcast. I hate talking about the Sega Dreamcast.
It was ahead
I
of its time.
love the Sega
I know
Dreamcast.
it was ahead of its time, but no one had faith in it.
They
makes me
abandoned
so
that thing.
sad.
They
Can I
abandoned
ask
it
you-
quick.
Yeah, they really did. Like I think within 2-3 years.
There people
Yeah.
still can't get
Yeah.
a PS5, and it's been like the Dreamcast died quicker than like the PS5 people can't
I know.
get it.
Yeah, right.
I still can't get a PS5. I don't have the money for it, but still, I'd like to try.
You have to
one.
actively get out there and like hunt.
You
for
find your
PS5.
ass out there, you
Yeah.
find that fucking
Yeah,
PS5.
right.
And I'm sorry, I just got Deathloop on the Xbox Series X. They're not giving me a lot of reasons to want a PS5 anymore.
There isn't.
Yeah.
There's no real reason to stick with that.
I heard
really
they're
wanna
making
play,
they're
like-
making games off of that Tom Holland movie though.
Really?
Uncharted.
Spider-Man?
Wow, good.
They're making new Uncharted games with
That's
Tom
great.
Holland in
I
it.
mean, like Uncharted
That's
was
weird.
a fun ROM.
That's not true.
I hear
Okay, I was gonna say, I don't-
they're giving
I don't
Sully a
love that.
mustache though.
Yeah, it's
Motherfucker was supposed to have the mustache.
dude.
Damn it, Mark Wahlberg.
It's played by that guy from Wahlburgers.
Donnie?
Yeah,
Love Wahlburgers.
Donnie Wahlberg.
Donnie
Oh, you mean the
Wahlberg.
guy who beat up a Vietnamese man?
Was that Donnie?
Yeah.
Castlevania Resurrection was
No, it was
canceled. Canceled the same day that Sony gave it an official announcement for the PlayStation 2.
Jesus.
Wow.
Also, interesting to note, Pinky and the Brain was canceled by Konami the same day.
Damn.
Sorry, Pinky and the Brain.
Oh man, that game would have been.
Could have changed the face of
Yeah,
gaming.
it really would have.
This fully 3D game would have taken place in 1666 at the time of the London fires.
Oh, that's dope.
It would have
That's a good
starred
set.
That would have been cool, yeah.
would have starred Sonia Belmont from Castlevania Legends, who has to.
That's what it was.
She gets sent in the future because the current Belmont Victor is a whiny, I don't want to be a Belmont bitch, and she has to come and save the day because
That's cool.
That's
That's ahead of its time. Too.
April 4th, 2021, a video was uploaded of a playable demo that had never been seen before. 5 fully playable stages with enemies and hazards were revealed. The demo is available to find now if you look a little bit.
Oh fuck.
Which is cool. But it very
might
much
look that up.
it very much looks like a 3D Castlevania that didn't like before Lament of Innocence. It kind of looks like that.
Okay.
Akumajo Dracula is the only thing we have for the TGS 2008 project. This would have been a new 3D Castlevania starring Alucard, developed by Igarashi. Planned title for the 360 and PS3. There was a teaser trailer just showed Alucard, and he was hoping that would be enough to get people excited.
Well, this is also why you don't hype video games that early. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the first attempt to reboot the franchise prior to Lords of Shadow. And there is one other game that was most recently canceled, a new mobile Castlevania game. Upcoming mobile game developed and published by Shenku Games for the Chinese market. In the middle and late 19th century, nearly 100 years have passed since Alucard and Richter Belmont defeated Dracula. During this period, Dracula was summoned to resurrect several times, but mankind has prevailed over and over again. There was a fair amount of art. You can see some videos of it. The only thing that I noted as being cool is there's a Dampier vampire hunter named Elvis. I put he's named Elvis.
He's named. That's your note.
Yep.
It's a good note.
And
It's not bad.
he's the new Alucard. He's
All right.
named Elvis.
Do you know Elvis spelled backwards is Dracula?
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Don't
The letters
I
are
know.
the same.
The letters are
I thought it
different,
was
but
Sivlay, but I guess I'm not really good at phonics.
What's Sylvain?
English is hard. Like, I'll
What's
give you that.
Sylvain Transylvanian?
Dracula?
There we go.
Oh, it is.
There we go.
And we've come full circle.
Yep.
There are some spin-off games. Kid Dracula.
I love Kid Dracula.
Yeah, that
awesome
was so
game.
fun. Yeah.
That was so much fun to play, and I never like I always dreamed of playing it because I always saw like screenshots, and I love the Game Boy. I love Game Boy functionality.
I've only played that in emulator form.
Okay.
It's also on the Castlevania collection.
Yeah.
It's on there now, which is a good way to play the original Famicom one. There is a lot of pachinko machines.
We won't get into that.
We don't need
I
to.
don't wanna.
I will say I watched one of the features. I do like a slot machine, and you enter like a boss rush mode where you have to you spin the slots, and if you get the right things, you can go to the next boss. It looks fine.
How skill based?
I mean, if I saw this, I would put $50 in there easy. But that's
I
about
mean,
it.
I probably would too. I don't think it would cost that much though. Pachinko machines are known for just keeping you at them for hours on end.
I don't think I could hold myself together if I saw a Silent Hill pachinko machine. Damn you, Konami.
You would get too horny.
Yeah.
I know you love Pyramid Head. It's fine.
Everybody has a preference.
As far as sex symbols go, there are worse.
Yeah.
There are worse. He's actually got a good body.
Yeah.
Good angles.
Yeah.
Very vascular arms.
Vascular.
Some
I
oddities.
love your veins. That's my
Those veins are
compliment.
hot.
There's
bulging.
there's Tiger Electronics games. You can play as Simon and Richter in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Metal Gear makes some mentions to Castlevania. Captain N was an animated TV series in the US and Canada and UK.
Fantastic.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 for sure.
Definitely the best animated series referencing Castlevania.
My favorite representation of Alucard to date.
I mean, the Netflix series is just so good.
It's not
good,
as good as a skateboarding kid Alucard, though, who says, "Whoa, dodge.
God, check it out.
Vampires rule!"
I am so glad I skipped that.
Wow, you have never seen it?
No.
Okay.
I've seen the clips, but I've never watched a full episode.
Yeah.
Alucard, you idiot!
We watched the full episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And Simon Belmont is like a real ding dong as
Yeah.
well.
Oh my God. Such a meathead.
Just the meatiest meathead. And then there was a Netflix show. That's the last thing that we have to talk about.
Which is fantastic.
Fantastic, yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal.
So good, yeah.
Yeah.
That first season was a little rough, but they were doing it on a budget, and it was 4 episodes. It was meant to be they wanted to do 3 movies essentially, and that would have been like the first movie. There would have been a second one, and then a third one. But when it got the huge reception, because people were like, "Oh, I remember Castlevania," they walked into it and they were just like, "Oh shit! Like something's going on here."
The first season is just a movie.
It really is.
It's 4
yeah.
25 minute episodes. So
Yeah.
They did that with the more recent Resident Evil series too. It was like a movie that they just split up into 4 or 5 episodes.
Are you talking about the Lance Reddick one?
No, not that one. No.
You're talking
Welcome
okay,
to Raccoon City.
No. There was the animated one.
Oh, okay.
There was an animated one with Leon and Claire in it.
Okay.
I'll never watch it.
I don't watch animated ones. And I also didn't watch the new live action one because I tried and it was bad.
There was one of the most favorite. What was it? It was one Resident Evil scene where like they had this like amazingly choreographed John Wick moment with Chris Redfield and Leon Kennedy riding in on shooting zombies on a Ducati motorcycle. It was one of the most amazing scenes. You have to see it. You have to Google it on YouTube.
Okay.
The animated.
Yeah, it's animated.
I'll watch that.
But it was so well choreographed that it's worth watching the whole movie just for that scene.
I trust you.
I mean, I would see that.
And
Yeah.
I used to trust
The rest of the movie is like kind of like a long drawn out, like, okay, all right. But just that scene alone, God, I forget the name of it.
And
Resident Evil Dingulation.
our friend Dom, I used to trust him until he said the new Castlevania, the new Resident Evil live action series is good. And I officially don't trust you anymore, Dom. I know you're listening. The fact that you got that far, though, makes me.
It was Resident
I'm
Evil
impressed.
Vendetta. That was it.
Dom lives in an RV.
See,
his
I
wife
feel bad
works.
because I walked out of Welcome to Raccoon City and I said, it's not bad. And I got like torn apart because I went to go see it with the guys I podcast with, and I got torn apart by everybody.
I didn't think it was bad.
I didn't think it was bad.
I
haven't seen
thought it
I'd
was
like to
rushed.
try it.
Yeah. I thought what they did to my boy Leon was a little bit sacrilegious, but
Very much so. Leon
Yeah.
is not a ding dong.
no, he really isn't. I mean, I don't mind that
He's
they
a very
changed.
intelligent man.
Yeah.
He got through Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, on his first day.
He solved
I
a
know.
police station like museum puzzle. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
You can't do that on accident.
He faced down a liquor.
Oh boy.
My ex-wife.
Castlevania.
Yeah.
Yeah, Castlevania Netflix series. I only saw the first season. I've heard the 4th season isn't great.
The 4th season is really good. The 3rd
it?
season is slow.
Third season was slow.
The 2nd season is the best one.
Yeah, second season.
There's there's a
man.
legitimate moment where like my hair, the hairs on my arm literally just like popped off, and I was just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this? Because you'll know it once you get there. I won't reveal too much.
Is that the scene where
There's a
Alucard
song-
goes into JFK's room?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Don't watch Blonde.
Don't do it.
Yeah, Alucard goes into Kennedy's room and it just gets, you know, the scene when you get there.
Yeah.
Season 2.
That was rough.
Yeah.
I just like the banter. What was that in season? Was that in season 2 or season 3? Where like the banter between Alucard and Trevor.
They don't they don't even interact in season 3.
Yeah.
So it would have been season 2.
It would have been season 2 where they
Yeah.
were just like kind of taking the piss out of each other. Yeah.
Yeah, because Trevor's there to kill Dracula, and it's like, you're the fucking what? No,
You're the
I don't like
Dracula.
you.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm supposed to kill you guys. Like, you're the whole reason my entire family lineage is destroyed.
And then Alucard's like, well, you can't fucking kill him unless I help you, so shut up.
Yeah. Alucard spanks him.
Well, here's the thing. You would love season 2 because they reference so many of his abilities in Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see shit like pop off, like swords moving on their own, like his rapier as he's doing another thing. Like, it'll fight for him. It's really cool.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Season 2 is, I don't think I've seen 4 or 3.
4
I've seen 1 maybe.
4 ends the story in a good way.
Yeah, but no, season 2 was
the best.
incredible.
Yeah.
And they have the teaser trailer for the newest spin-off Netflix series, Castlevania Nocturne. And it's just like it's just like Richter Belmont from behind, like, and he pulls like the whip, and it's Richter Belmont. It's gonna do Rondo of Blood and then lead into Symphony of the Night.
Oh, cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
They do an animated version of Symphony of the Night.
And Shaft is voiced by Samuel L. Jackson.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
No,
dope.
I'm kidding. I am kidding.
I was going to say, what?
Oh, I was gonna say, fuck
You just destroyed Dylan's hopes.
I was like, you get out of here.
Yeah. No, it's voiced by Nolan North.
I would not be surprised.
Or Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Tom Holland is Maria
Or
Bernard.
Yuri Lowenthal. One of those
It's gonna be
guys.
Chris Pratt. He voices everything now.
The Mario trailer comes out soon. I'm excited to see it.
I think
weeks,
I think this is going to be a dumpster fire. It's going to be a dumpster fire.
Was it you, Brad, that said you think the movie's gonna be like he clocks out and then he puts on the Chris Pratt voice and then it's like
Much like Mario Brothers 3 is set on a stage,
I think it's gonna
it'll
be,
the regular Mario voice of Charles Martinet, and then it'll be like him punching out, and it's just Chris Pratt or something like that. And that's why I think,
they're going to do a Wreck-It
gonna-
Ralph with this, and that's
Yeah.
the part that annoys me the most.
yeah.
well, I feel like the success of the Lego movie and what that was, especially with him being at the forefront of it, is
you
probably
guys
going to be
see,
something similar.
Rescue Rangers movie?
Which one?
I
Very
liked
good.
it.
The more recent one.
Very
I liked
good.
that movie. Yeah.
That was good. That's where I'm thinking they're going to go with it because
I
like
really
the
hope
Zipper
so.
being voiced by the dude from the Allstate commercials.
Yeah.
You know, like
Lance Reddick.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's
it's
also
not,
Lance.
It's not Lance Reddick. It's
Hello,
what is his name?
Guardians. It's me, Lance Reddick from The Wire.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's the same thing I feel about the live action One Piece adaptation. I'm like, why are you going to do this to me? Like, I literally have to watch.
Why are you
this.
going to do this to me?
Like they're doing it to me. I actually feel like they're doing this on purpose to hurt my feelings, but it's
did
going
that
to
with the
fail
Cowboy
just like
Bebop, fans.
In the
which
writers' room.
sucked.
Yeah.
In the writer's room, they just have a photo of Dylan on a dartboard. They're like, yeah, fuck this
There's
guy.
so many
How can we
darts in
ruin
my
this guy's
forehead and eyes. They're just so obsessed with making my feelings get hurt. Like, I like their casting, but like that means nothing in comparison to like, how are you the most? Never mind.
Sometimes things work out. I thought the Sandman adaptation was great.
I
heard
thought
good
it was
things about
missing
that, yeah.
a lot, but it's fine. Like,
You can't have
read the
everything,
books.
though, as an adaptation.
It's fine. Listen, they're not going to get One Piece right. I just know they're not.
Hair of the Dogcast exists because of people like you. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or thoughts about this episode, check out us on Instagram and Facebook, Hair of the Dogcast. We are on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. Email us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. If you want access to our special Patreon episode of Symphony of the Night, as well as a lot of other exclusive Patreon content, such as our movie podcast and a lot of other things like our after show, Doggies After Dark.
It's true.
Check out patreon.com/hairofthedogcast. It's totally worth it. Executive producers Ryan, Christy, Nick, Tyler, Keller, Kip, Brian Ward, Kitty Bone. Thank you so much for your support. And we are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. For more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com. And before we leave the Castlevania Retrospective 3-part series, I'd like everyone to just say what their favorite game is and if they want to talk about Castlevania anymore. Or have you had your fill?
I think I've had my fill. Symphony of the Night, I definitely put the most time into out of any of the games. But honestly, I think Super Castlevania still I got a soft spot for it. I watched some more YouTube videos because I was only able to play it for like 45 minutes or so. And watching it makes me want to play it even more. In fact, I think given if I had Symphony of the Night and Super Castlevania, I'd probably choose to play Super Castlevania.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on every aspect. I was talking with someone about it, and I was just like, Symphony of the Night is just a better video game in general, but for just pick up and playability, Super Castlevania 4 has a
Those
lot
whip
going
physics,
on.
man.
The
Yeah.
the whips,
You
the
can
grapple.
like swing. Yeah, you can grapple on things. Yeah.
Being able to whip diagonally is a nice thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Medusa
Yeah.
heads not being a problem because I just windmill that shit over
Hell yeah.
and over.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Actually,
ain't afraid of no birds.
Yep, it's a tie in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
they're close.
yeah.
It's a really close tie for me with Bloodlines and Simon's Quest.
Cool.
Okay,
Like
wow,
I
yeah.
liked. I was a Sega Genesis kid growing up, so I didn't get into Castlevania 4 till late. So I actually played Bloodlines before even touching Castlevania 4. So I just loved the visceralness of Bloodlines. But I, like what we was talking about before recording, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2 was like kind of the more unique ones of the time.
Yeah.
And it did something completely different that it didn't take, like it took a long time for Castlevania to revisit again with Symphony of the Night. So
How about you, Brad? I know.
I'm a shill. Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
It's where it's at. It's the best soundtrack. It's the
oh,
best
yeah,
art
of course,
design.
yeah.
It's the fucking
I mean,
best one.
It's dope. Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to even argue with that. And like we could argue every day about like the merits of each.
It's
but
just sensibilities, and
I know.
this just scratches my itch.
yeah. I mean that itch is such a good scratcher, though.
The soundtrack. Michiru Yamane, we're not worthy.
Truly.
Truly, that soundtrack just goes so hard, and I think that's probably one of the best things about the entire franchise. I love horror as a theme. I like movie monsters. I like gothic shit. I love the music. Everything about Castlevania is just what I'm about, and usually, my patience for Kingdom Hearts ran out quick.
Yeah.
When we were doing like that, getting ready for those episodes. Castlevania, I'm still not tired of it, which is surprising for me to say.
Well, I mean, Kingdom Hearts drove me insane in a couple ways. Just thinking about it, even like watching YouTube videos about the timelines and stuff. I'm like, at least
I'm a sadist.
you are
Clearly.
clearly. Yeah, with Castlevania, it's as easy as like man fights monster. It's really just like if you wanna
Barbarian
break
fights
it down-
monster, sexy goth boy fights monsters. I'm in. Like either way.
Sign me
fun.
up.
Like,
look
it's-
at this
yeah.
sexy boy, guys. Look at this
Ooh.
Leon.
That guy's never seen sunlight.
No, he
Yeah.
has not.
And also, I didn't realize they had lesbian hair salons in
Is that guy the host
the
of
1000s.
what's the name of Ellen DeGeneres' show? Because I've seen that guy on there.
Ellen?
Ellen, Circle of the Moon.
I'd watch that.
Well, if you're talking about her actual show that she does and interviews people, judging by like what goes on backstage, I actually think it is called like Ellen Lament of Innocence because she treats her employees like shit.
And next week, we're not done talking about Castlevania.
No, sir.
No. We will be back, and I will be torturing Tyler and Dylan with the entire timeline explained.
Can I leave with the last paragraph
Yes.
of Castlevania?
I was going to mention
Bloodlines?
that. Yeah.
1 second. Stoy, where can the people find you?
Oh yeah.
I am on the EXPcast. We're a video game podcast, also in the Milwaukee area, same as these guys. So we put out episodes every Mondays. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at EXPcast, and you can listen to us on pretty much almost every podcast platform.
And thanks for
Read
joining
that
us.
last paragraph, please.
Okay. Taste the sweat dripping into your mouth as you try rescuing yourself from diabolical traps.
That is the worst sentence to start something.
Wait
with.
for it.
Taste the sweat dripping into your mouth.
Feel the torturous strain on every muscle as you wield again and again sacred weapon power-ups such as holy water, the battle axe, the crystal blade boomerang, and the mirror of truth. But in the end, make sure you've saved enough strength to scream.
Taste the sweat.
Taste the sweat.
Taste the sweat.
Oh, it's salty.
Tastes bad. This has been Raw Dogs. Everyone, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for having me on. Really
You were great,
Anytime.
dude.
Thanks
It was a lot
for
of fun.
coming.
Dude,
You're always welcome.
anytime you want to be on, man. It's
Appreciate it.
perfect.
Appreciate you guys.